At the time of this video going up, we are now 2 weeks past WrestleMania, but we never really did get the opportunity to talk about the greatest matches on the grandest stage of them all. So let's take a quick moment and take a look at the greatest WrestleMania matches. You know what? This is lame and generic. I need to come up with something else.
Boo.
Eh.
Come on, man. Don't be like Roman Reigns. Don't just read something scripted. Go for the heart. Did I just say don't Roman Reigns it? Are you serious?
Roman Reignsing it is a verb. Should this just be the intro?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, WrestleMania matches greatest of all time starts now! Alright, so we're talking about WrestleMania matches. We're talking about the really good ones, not the shit ones. And so there's no fucking Goldberg, Lesnar, or Hart, fucking McMahon shit here. We're talking about the good shit now.
Yay! And this is so late, but whatever. Now we're
Don't
going to
give
talk
fuck.
about WrestleMania.
WrestleMania.
Alright, who's going first? God.
Okay. I guess I'll go first. All right. You guys know the drill here. We each get 2 WrestleMania matches to talk about. I'm going to take you guys back to WrestleMania 20, where we had the WWE Championship match between Eddie Guerrero defending his championship against Kurt Angle. This match for me was, I guess, a great example of how to tell a story. You have Guerrero as the champion, having just won it from Brock Lesnar, the previous pay-per-view, No Way Out, with a little bit of help from Goldberg, but nobody really talks about that. And we originally were going to probably have Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle again, a rematch from last year's WrestleMania. But Eddie Guerrero is just like, hey, guess what? I'm the champion now. So we had this whole angle. We had this whole thing going with Angle. It was just like, oh, you're a drug addict. You shouldn't be champion. Well, I'm going to show you. I'm America. At least I didn't go America like that. That wasn't until JBL fucked that all up. But anyway, why is it that like Angle and JBL just went with the whole, oh, I'm American and you're not, so you shouldn't be champion?
Well, Angle's was different. Kurt Angle's whole shtick was that Guerrero was an addict. Like, that's they were bringing up Guerrero's past of being addicted to drugs, even though he had been clean at that point. I think he had been clean off the hard stuff. He was probably on painkillers, but everybody was at that time anyway, so that was the whole thing. Also, can we mention how ironic it is that Angle is getting angry at another wrestler because they're a drug addict?
The irony is palpable.
Oh,
yeah, you could cut that sucker with a knife, but that's it. We got some great shenanigans. I mentioned this on our top 15 wrestlers 5 through 1 video, but that whole promo where Eddie Guerrero is auctioning off Kurt Angle's stuff, that was a great promo. I don't remember if it was the Go Home show because I didn't even know what WrestleMania was back then. But if it was, best Go Home promo I've ever seen.
Yeah, the match itself I thought was really good too. You had these 2 great mat wrestlers who were going at it, and you really didn't know how things were going to go. Angle was just beating the shit out of Guerrero, but Guerrero did a great job telling the story in the ring, especially near the end. And I still remember, I watched this part so many times with Angle's locked in the ankle lock. Eddie just throws him out of the ring. He's getting up his boot. He realizes, oh shit, my leg is hurt. My foot is hurt too. And Angle kind of gets back into the ring, and Eddie's just like, oh shit. So he scrambles to the other side of the ring. Angle grabs him, tries to do another ankle lock, and Eddie slips out of his shoe. Angle's like, what the fuck? Eddie catches Angle in a roll-up, holds onto the ropes. 1, 2, 3, bam, still champion.
It's the only time in history that a roll-up has led to a satisfactory ending to the match.
Yeah. This, along with his match at WrestleMania 21 against Rey Mysterio, are probably 2 of the best WrestleMania matches that Eddie Guerrero has ever put on. And between the 2, I think this one is the best, not just because for the fact that he was champion and he successfully retained during this, but there was a better story going into it.
Yeah, that is kind of odd to see the champion retain at a WrestleMania. At least I think it is, because it seems like WrestleMania is the perfect time for a champion, or for a new champion to be crowned, and feels a little odd to see it not change hands. But it felt good. It felt good to see Guerrero get to hold on to that thing, so I was happy with it.
Yeah, I think the only other time I distinctly remember the championship retaining was WrestleMania 3 with Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan.
I think there were a few other times where the championship stayed on. I think it was with Jericho and Edge at one point. I think there was Randy Orton versus Cena and Triple H, some other stuff. But yeah, those are some other okay matches. This match here is my all-time favorite WrestleMania match. I watched it so many times. I've analyzed it a lot of times. I think it's one of Eddie Guerrero's best matches, if not the best. But his match with Lesnar the month before was very high contender.
It was the best in terms of the story going in and all of that stuff. I would still put some of his stuff with Malenko as the best wrestling he's ever put on.
Okay, WrestleMania then.
Fair enough right there.
I really like this match. The action in the ring is fast-paced. Angle really turns it up and reminds you, like he likes to do in his high-profile matches, that he's an Olympic wrestler, so he's doing lots of Olympic wrestling holds that you don't see very often from other people because they're not gold medal winners, and they didn't win that medal with a broken freaking neck.
So, it's true.
It's damn true. So that's really cool. And then, of course, you have Eddie Guerrero, the high flyer, the guy that constantly scrambles around trying to be like, you gotta catch me, you can't catch the purple dragon, man, I can catch the purple dragon. So that was fun to watch. It's just a very, very fun match, and as we mentioned about 5 billion times, the story leading up to it was really great.
You were weaving a narrative just then with the whole, you can't catch me. Okay.
What, you've never seen that South Park episode? Come on.
I've seen it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Good.
Okay, so I'm going to take you back very, very not that far back into the past. Only about 1 year. And there was a time when the Authority angle wasn't total garbage. There was
Really?
a time, yeah, it's shocking as it may seem, there was a time when we wanted to boo the Authority. We didn't just want them to leave. And this was around WrestleMania 30, and this was the time when Daniel Bryan was getting super, brought down by the Authority, and, you're never going to be a star, you're always going to be a B+ player. And it got the Yes movement going. The crowd was behind Bryan more than I've ever seen, and it led up to a freaking great match at WrestleMania 30 between Triple H and Daniel Bryan.
This match, just between these two, you can put them in whatever era they were in. You could say it'd be like, Daniel Bryan in his Ring of Honor days, or Triple H in his earlier days when he was in his prime or whatever. Just these two in a match together is great. It was really interesting to see how they were going to do the match. You have Triple H, who's the experienced ring veteran, and you also have Daniel Bryan, who is a veteran in his own right as well, with all of the experience he has all over the world. Triple H is limited to just a few things, but when you look at these two, it's really interesting because you could have them face off in their prime, you could have them face off in different time periods. They still would have a great show to put on and a great wrestling match as well.
Yeah, they work really well together. Really well together. And I think that match was their only legitimate match, was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember any others. They need more. I think
that's the only
matches.
time they've ever faced off.
Yeah, if there were other times, then they must have ended in debauchery. But this match was it was fairly fast-paced. It wasn't just, it was pretty well-paced, but it had some great moments in there, Daniel Bryan kicking out of the second pedigree. After the second one, it was so much for the build-up for the whole thing. I guess somehow Triple H is going to be facing Orton and Batista. Oh, shit!
There are two things to note about this. One, Triple H's entrance. Okay, real talk. Hell of a lot better than this year's.
Holy
my
fucking
God.
shit, yes.
That was a really good entrance, man.
It was.
Here's the thing.
30?
I hate that Triple H has such a huge ego about himself, but the one thing that it gives us is great WrestleMania entrances. I wouldn't trade these entrances for the world, and WrestleMania 30's entrance was fantastic. Speaking of, most of WrestleMania's 30's entrances was great. In fact, The Undertaker's WrestleMania 30 entrance is my favorite entrance of him from him of all time, right next to the entrance from WrestleMania 29.
I'll give you that.
Oh, I absolutely adore The Undertaker's WrestleMania 30 entrance. I've actually watched that entrance more times than I've watched the match that follows.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason we don't watch the match that follows. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
With Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, that match was... We all knew who was going to win. We all knew that Daniel Bryan was going to win. The only time that we didn't think he was going to win was with the second pedigree, as Nicky stated. But D-Bry did win, as we all expected, but that didn't matter. The predictability of the match did not diminish from the athleticism and the spots and the great things that happened, especially after the match when Triple H decimates Daniel Bryan's left shoulder, or right shoulder. It was right shoulder, yeah. And it really disheartened us, even though at this point we know Daniel Bryan's going to win the championship. It was all really, really believable. And that's what sells the match. It was believable. You could believe that Daniel Bryan was in trouble. You could believe that he could overcome the odds, but he's not gonna.
Yeah, that was the second thing that I was going to end up bringing up. The fact that it is believable, and the fact that even though this whole pay-per-view, at least the beginning and end, was built up around Daniel Bryan winning the championship, you know, there was a little bit of believability with even the second match that things could... Okay, we all knew that he was going to win the first match, but when it came to the second match, that was where the wild stuff came in.
Yeah, because I remember back when we were doing the original WrestleMania 30 prediction video, like at that point, we were like, fuck, what is going to happen? Like, are they actually going to go through all the way with this and give Daniel Bryan the title? It was a finale made the main event a lot more like intense for me.
Yeah.
I should go back and listen to that.
Yeah, have you even like listened to the very first video, like the very first unofficial Haymakers video that me and Nicky did?
I haven't. I keep forgetting. I should go listen to it.
Yeah, remember Nicky when we made part 1 of that and we never made part 2?
Whoops. I should really change the name of that to not include a part 2.
Oh my god. Wait, no. We should make a part 2. We should redeem ourselves.
That'll be our crowning achievement, the part 2 to the part 1 that isn't part of the Haymakers.
We'll do that after WrestleMania 32.
And they'll be like, hey guys, I know you guys are listening for WrestleMania 32, but here me and Nicky are going to talk about WrestleMania 30.
WrestleMania 32, Neville wins the WWE Championship.
Oh boy, that would be something.
Hey man, the way they're building him up already, I do not see this guy anywhere other than the main event within at least like a year and a half. In a year and a half, I honestly think he will be feuding for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, WrestleMania 33, I could buy that. 32, we're pushing it just a little bit.
This next match is sort of like it's a misfit match. It looks like it doesn't belong. But as far as the older WrestleMania matches goes, most people will say that this is the best one. Why? Because it's a misfit. This match was a match where instead of having a couple of large guys go really slowly and just fake punching each other, this match was go, go, go all the time, and it really brought the initial prestige to the Intercontinental Championship that it needed when it was formed. Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat at WrestleMania 3 for the Intercontinental Championship.
Now, when you say two slow guys slowly fake punching each other, you wouldn't happen to be talking about the other match on that card.
Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. People remember that shit with rose-tinted glasses. No, fuck you. That was not the best match of WrestleMania 3.
No, that was an awful match. If you actually go and watch the whole match between Hogan and Andre, that was shite. I know that 80s wrestling was kind of slower and not quite as, like intense as it is today, but good God almighty, that is painful to sit through.
Everybody is under the mistaken impression that the final moment of that match, the whole, Hogan slams Andre, Hogan hits the leg drop, they assume that is what makes it the greatest match of all time. I would say no, because overall the match was kind of meh, but the finish is what makes the match, I think. Everything before then is kind of like meh, but everybody says, oh yes, that moment right there, that makes it the greatest match. Bullshit. The greatest WrestleMania match of all time has to have a good story leading up to it and good wrestling all throughout. That's like saying your favorite movie is like, oh yeah, my favorite movie is like such and such because of the final scene. Bullshit. It has to be the entire match with the story, with the wrestlers. You can't just say, oh, it was like the last 5 minutes of the match. That's what makes it so good. Bullshit, you can't.
Exactly, and the biggest epitome of this is Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat, because unlike the Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan match, the Steamboat Savage match has aged beautifully over the last almost 30 years.
It's still a great match.
This is the kind of match where you could take it move for move, change just a couple of minor details, plop it into a pay-per-view in the modern day, and it'll still be good. It has aged so damn well. Why watch it and it's still good? It's been nearly 30 years. It's still good.
That match was 15 years ahead of its time. It was like you had Savage going to the top rope a bunch and Steamboat doing flippy shit. It was just fucking great.
This match, I think, defined both of these guys' career. It also helped define the Intercontinental Championship. Like, whenever you talk about Intercontinental Championship matches, this one is either the first or at least somewhere within, breathing of, the greatest Intercontinental Champion matches were such and such, such and such, such and such. You know, it was funny, though. I find this funny, though, that the end of the match, it has the simplest finish, though. Other than, it's a roll-up.
Yeah.
You fucking win with a roll-up, despite getting, conked in the head with a ring bell, but...
Yeah, it was, Randy Savage does the suplex, Ricky Steamboat with the small package, 1, 2, 3, he got him! Thank you, Gorilla Monsoon.
Wow, 2 of our first 3 choices ended in roll-ups. Is this weird?
Well, it's not weird because... Okay, that is really fucking weird.
Yeah, it is. Now that you think about it.
We always talk about roll-up finishes being like, brr, this sucks.
Back then, roll-up finishes didn't really happen.
That's what made them so special. That's what made them so surprising. But now divas are doing them every fucking match. It takes away from the magic of it.
Yeah, I agree. Roll-ups are at an all-time low though, which is great. Okay, so that match is great. I'm pretty certain a lot of our listeners may not have watched that match, unlike many of the others that we'll be talking about on this episode. Go watch it. It's good.
That's what the WWE Network is for, goddammit. Go
back
back
and that's the only good thing the network is for. That
WWE Network is free for the month of April, which includes Extreme Rules.
If I may take a moment.
Please take this moment and do what you want.
Okay, now... We have the WWE Network offering the month of April for free, which is cool. Those of you that didn't know that, go sign up and watch the content, and then unsubscribe, so that way you'll be fine. But here's the thing. They keep saying, oh, we've gotten 1 million subscribers, we're on our way up, we're doing well. Healthy promotions and healthy subscriptions don't offer free months and free shit like this as much as the WWE has. The WWE in the last, let's see here, I think in the last 6 months, 3 of them have been free.
The one for Survivor Series is free.
Yeah.
I want to say the one for, it was Survivor Series, Fastlane, and now Extreme Rules. I think that's 3 of the last 5 pay-per-views.
3 of the 6. You forgot tables, ladders, and chairs.
We all forgot about tables, ladders, and chairs.
Yeah, we all did. But yeah, healthy subscriptions don't do that. They don't offer free months all the time like that. If WWE wants to stick by their scruples and they want to stick by the network, they need to make sure people fucking pay for it. But they're not, because they're not confident. So, well, we get to see how that works. Huh?
And rightfully so.
Yeah.
Actually, I can't really say that because it seems like the WWE is sort of steering its way back into competency.
Yeah. Next match.
All right, next match. Now, this match on its own is really freaking great. But what really makes this match so good was how the matches before led up to this. This is like, okay, what do you call a movie trilogy with an extra movie? A quadrilogy?
A quadrilogy.
A quadrilogy. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's what the Aliens franchise is.
Yeah, this match is the final match in a quadrilogy featuring Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, and Triple H. I present to you, ladies and gentlemen, WrestleMania 28, Triple H versus The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match with Shawn Michaels as the guest referee. This is what fantasy matches are made of. Leading up to this, we have to talk about like Michaels and Taker at some point on this list. We may not, who knows. But yeah, this all started with Shawn Michaels versus Taker, and then it led to their second match where Undertaker forced Michaels to retire. Next WrestleMania, Triple H comes along and tries to beat Taker. He fails. So now we come to this, the end-all, be-all, the final showdown, the ultimate showdown of Ultimate Destiny, yada, yada, yada. This match is probably the greatest Hell in a Cell match ever, I would think. And it has so much going for it. There's so many near finishes. There's great wrestling between Triple H and Undertaker, some of their finest work. And with Shawn Michaels being the anomaly in this, the storytelling for this match is unbelievable.
You very rarely see the WWE go for a story this epic about like, and the whole thing about it was like, once 27 came around and Michaels had retired, H basically came back or challenged Taker out of his friendship for Michaels. Am I right about that one? Or
yeah, I agree. Like the whole plot line was basically when Triple H lost, he couldn't at WrestleMania 27, he couldn't really believe it. So he was like, "Oh, I'm a heel, so I get to talk like, oh, I got in a few hits, so basically I won." Of course, I'm going off of Wrestling Isn't Wrestling because he explained it perfectly.
Can we just take a real quick moment to acknowledge that Wrestling Is Not Wrestling is one of the greatest things ever?
It's the greatest fan work I've ever seen this side of Botchamania. Like, he said, how he explained it is very great. He's like, Triple H loses, but he's like, I got in a few hits, so I guess I won. And Undertaker's like, dude, you lost. Admit it. No. You lost. You need to admit it. I'm not going to rematch me. Rematch me and I'll prove it. I'm better than you. No. You're not as good as Shawn Michaels.
oh shit!
That was the abridged version, basically.
Well, let me join you in there.
Oh shit! Hold on, let's have an air horn battle. 3, 2, 1, go!
Have we made the most annoying YouTube video of all time?
It's certainly possible. Anyway, the match itself was fucking great.
It really was too. It would have been interesting to since they have a no blood policy. Could you imagine how this Hell in a Cell match would have been like, what, give or take 6 or 7 years ago when blood was like the coolest thing? These two are all bloodied and battered up, and they're just beating the shit out of each other.
I'm honestly surprised they didn't bring it back at least
for
this match. Like, think about it this way. We're coming off of WrestleMania 30, and in the main event, Brock Lesnar got busted open.
WrestleMania 31.
31, sorry, my bad. 31. He got busted open, and if you run through the entire match and Brock Lesnar didn't get busted open, the match would not have worked. The blood sold everything. It would not have worked otherwise. So honestly, they should have done that for WrestleMania 28.
Just think, though, that would have made the ending that much better. Oh, yeah, by the way, the ending. Through a miraculous turnaround, Undertaker still wins, despite the fact that, okay, I thought it was over when Shawn Michaels super kicks Taker. Then Triple H falls over the pedigree. Fast count. That should have been it. But no, Taker still wins with another tombstone. The ending for this is what really solidifies this match as well. And now, unlike Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan, the whole entire match was stupendous, and the ending is what solidifies it. It's what immortalizes it, with the three of them standing at the top of the stage, arms around each other, kind of giving one last bow. That would have been perfect to end it. And then CM Punk comes along, and then Brock Lesnar comes along, and that fucks up everything.
This might be the first time that you've ever said, and then CM Punk came along and ruined
I feel
everything.
bad for saying that. I just basically said, and then CM Punk comes along and fucks it up.
To be fair, CM Punk didn't fuck anything up. Their match was great. It was Vince McMahon and The Undertaker who fucked it up by giving Undertaker more matches.
Exactly. It should have ended there. I keep saying this over and over, but that was the perfect ending. You have all those three guys, the end of an era. They fucking build it up as the end of an era. They were saying that over and over and over again. If that had been it, bam, they're all gone. But no, they had to keep going. Just like it's just like Hollywood, they're not satisfied. More money, more movies, more movies.
Oh, at this rate, I'm honestly you just made me a little bit worried because when is it going to be enough for Taker? Because there's going to be another match for him at 32, and I wouldn't be shocked if there's another one for him at 33. How much longer is he going to keep doing this shit?
It's gotta end at 32. I've mentioned this way too many goddamn times, but Bray Wyatt needs a rematch, and he needs to put him down at WrestleMania 32. It's gotta happen. The Undertaker can't go on. I don't want him to go on. I don't. I want him to stop.
We should make a video at some point where we fantasy book WrestleMania 32.
Oh God, that would be
We
great.
should.
That would be hilarious.
I have a fantasy book already written down for this.
Nice.
We should keep that in mind for later. Anyway, great match overall. Best Hell in a Cell match of all time. Probably one of the best WrestleMania matches for these three guys. Next match.
All right, next match. I'm up again. Okay, so I'm going all the way back to WrestleMania 13, which on the whole, people talk about 13 like it was such a great pay-per-view. It was kind of a shit pay-per-view, except for Bret Hart, Stone Cold in a submission match with Ken Shamrock as their special guest referee.
Quick question. Why was Ken Shamrock the guest referee for that match?
This was wasn't this right as he was getting out of UFC and coming into WWE, or had he been around for a while?
I don't know. Why was Ken Shamrock so important? What did Ken Shamrock do?
Ken Shamrock was...
I know he was part of UFC or whatever.
And I'm X-Pac, and my thing is, I'm X-Pac. That's Ken Shamrock.
He kind of did to the Attitude Era what the Brock Lesnar does today. He gives it that weird feeling of kind of realism because, hey, this guy could really beat the shit out of you. He did it for a living before. But yeah. Anyway, Shamrock is not important at all in this match. The important thing in this in this pay-per-view, Hart versus Austin, where Hart won not by tapping out, but by knocking out. That was this was right as Austin was getting his big push. I believe this was right after his big King of the Ring win was Austin 316 says, I just whipped your ass.
It was about 8 months after.
Yeah, it was in the same timeline as that, or same year as that one. But, oh man, all you need to remember about, well, there's probably more, but the big thing you need to remember about this match is that one shot. You know the one where Austin is bleeding, just pouring out of his head, screaming in agony, and he will not tap out.
That's a shot for you. That they use that footage. They use that shot of his face all bloody and busted open. They use that for a lot of things.
Well, it's one of the first times that it's ever really happened. You look at the fucking John Cena way of never give up, so I'm never gonna tap, and it looks so formulaic and typical, but back then that didn't happen, ever. People tapped out.
Yeah, I was about to say, from what I remember, Austin, wasn't, back then, Austin wasn't the kind of guy who was oh, I'm never gonna give up, I'm never gonna, and, he occasionally
never
tapped
gonna
out
give
to
you
people.
up?
Shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Moving on. But yeah, he tapped out to people before, but this, him not tapping out here made it feel more important because it made it feel like Austin was defiantly saying, fuck you, Hart. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of having me tap out to you. You could almost feel the middle finger being raised towards him.
Middle fingers.
All the way. Can't really do those now. Randy Orton did them, and you had to blur them out a little bit.
Oh, that was the funniest thing. It's like, oh, they're right at the top of the frame. Got to lower the camera a little bit so the kiddies can't see it.
But the two little kids in the front row are just like, hey, I can do that too.
I like how they still use that shot in promos. They just show him with his hands out of the frame for some weird reason. And it's like, why is that the case, I wonder?
This match is, I don't know why some people call it an I Quit match, some people call it a submission match, whatever. But I think what really helps this match stand out was the double turn that it ended up having. Bret Hart was, a good guy going into this, and Stone Cold was just like, oh, I'm the bad guy, But right around the end, when Bret was not like refusing to let him go and acting like a jackass, there was something that we don't see often, the double turn, where Bret Hart just becomes, his egocentric asshole kind of guy, and Stone Cold becomes the face that we're looking for, the rebel. And it only goes much higher from there for him.
We've mentioned it a couple times before. The double turn is one of the hardest things to pull off in the WWE. Like, you need to have somebody, like a really super popular heel, and you also need to have a face that you can kind of imagine being kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And, like, they pulled it off in a way that I don't think has ever been done better. This was the perfect double turn. But yeah.
Even though it happened after the match is over, I still think it was great. It helped kind of add a few little sprinkles on the cake, if you know what I'm saying. It makes the overall match like that much more important too, I think.
Yeah. It makes the match feel like it feels like it was a moment. It was one of the big moments in the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And sure enough, 1 year later at WrestleMania 14, what ended up happening?
He ended up winning the champion. Yeah, he won the championship from Shawn Michaels.
And Bret Hart slowly heads out the door.
Slowly, but not before, not without a bang.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Bret Hart was not on next year's card. I wonder why.
Why? Because WCW.
Oh no! Yeah, we'll say WCW. We won't say screw job here. Okay.
We did. He couldn't resist that WCW allure. Also, Vince was kind of a dick. Moving on.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
All right.
We'll talk about that on a future podcast. Oh boy, last match and final match on this podcast. Many people will unanimously call this one the greatest match at WrestleMania of all time. Of course, your opinion may differ, but we have a podcast, so our opinion is better than yours. This match was teased at Royal Rumble 2007. The final two competitors in the Royal Rumble were Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, and they hadn't fought in a ring together for roughly 10 years. They had a mini-match for 5 minutes, but that left people wanting more. That left people wanting a lot more, because they are two of the biggest competitors that the WWE has ever had, and they hadn't been in the ring for 10 years. Well, 2 years later at WrestleMania 25, they got their wish. We got their wish, and all was right in the world, if only for 20 short minutes. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25.
I can see why so many people would put this as like the number one. Hell, Watch Mojo, I think, put this as their number one, and they know jack shit about wrestling. But I would definitely agree. I think this is, from a story standpoint, from a wrestling standpoint, from hell, even an entrance standpoint, this is the ideal greatest WrestleMania match of all time.
First of all, the dynamic between these two. You got Shawn Michaels, the born-again Christian, the man of... He was kind of billed as a man of God in this.
They really played up that part.
Oh yeah, they did. That's what's so great about it. They had this heaven and hell aesthetic between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, which was great because it wasn't sacrilegious. It was just really goddamn cool.
Yeah, it was. Like it made this whole thing seem way more wrestling it. Like, I know we talk about, it made it feel real. This felt super wrestling-ish. It felt like we were watching, I don't want to say it felt like we were watching a cartoon, because that makes it sound like it was like
we were
weird
watching sports entertainment.
Oh my fucking god, dude.
We were watching the best possible form of sports entertainment.
I'll take that. It was a really great dynamic, and it's one of those things that you have to take away from this match. They had an opportunity and they fucking took it. The match itself, holy shit. Oh my god.
It was really well put together. I think probably the best moment from that entire match is Taker hits the tombstone, and his look on his face when Michaels kicks out is priceless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The other thing,
fucker kicked out.
The other thing about this is the near falls are so convincing. It's one of the only Undertaker streak matches where people believed that the Undertaker was finally going to lose.
And it felt right. It felt like it was the perfect time because, first of all, it's a nice round number. WrestleMania 25, the 25th anniversary, even though it's technically not the 25th anniversary, it was the 24th anniversary of WrestleMania 1. But it doesn't matter because it felt big. It felt like, and you have him go against possibly the greatest wrestler of all time in Shawn Michaels. It felt like it was the perfect way to cap off The Undertaker's career. Because at that point, he was getting a little up there in years. He was still competing kind of regularly. So it felt like if he were to retire right then, it would have been kind of, and I'm about to get into sports metaphor, so I'm very sorry here, but it's kind of like how Barry Sanders retired. He retired a little too early, but at the same time, it felt good because he was still able to walk away and he had all of his capabilities, or he still had all of his body worked. It left us thinking what could have been, instead of now where it's kind of like, oh my God, he's going to destroy himself.
My favorite team is the Dallas Texans.
I don't watch football. I watch real sports. I watch wrestling. Fuck all of you.
I am surrounded by nerds.
I remember when I was younger, my favorite team was the Miami Dolphins just because of Ace Ventura. That was it.
That's just as good a reason. I'm fucking done here. I'm fucking
You okay there, Calcos?
No, send help. Nicky, you back with us?
I'm back.
I think Calcos became the Joker for a few seconds.
Okay. The Miami Dolphins versus the Dallas Cowboys match at WrestleMania 25 was really great, and it's the greatest WrestleMania match of all time.
Wait, what? Like every single player versus every other single player? It's like
dude, I would pay money for that shit.
106-man battle royale between the Miami Dolphins and the Dallas Cowboys.
3-man battle royals and just fuck it. You have like two people wrestling in different places all over the goddamn arena. And
dude, bring back Starrcade. Put 2 rings in the middle. That can hold 106 people.
Now here's the question: do we include coaches?
No, the coaches can be the managers, the advocates.
Okay, because I think both of the coaches for those teams are kind of young, so it could work. It could work.
Holy shit, we sidetracked.
What were we talking about?
This was fun.
I agree, and I'm gonna leave this in.
Good. Good call.
Michaels versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 25.
Oh, jeez, I could watch this match forever.
This is one of those matches where, like, it doesn't get old. Like those two guys on our list was the 1 and 2 on the greatest wrestlers of all time.
And this shows it. This really does show it. And hell, I used this match. I used the Michaels versus Undertaker quadrilogy, if you will. I used that to show to like all my non-wrestling friends. I'm like, hey, you want to see why I love this so much? This is why. I use that as a prime example because the amount of storytelling and the match work and everything that's like recognizable about it. You know, you got Undertaker, you got Shawn Michaels, you have the setting. It's perfect, honestly.
It feels like it would be a perfect match to show like new people into getting into wrestling because it like you have two phenomenal workers. One of them is literally the Phenom. The other one is literally Mr. WrestleMania. So
Yeah.
how could he go wrong there? Like both of whom like have some deep respect for the business, and they both put on, pardon the pun, one hell of a match between the two of them. It was beautiful. It was as perfect as a wrestling match can go. It was like art.
Yeah. And the second match was also great.
It was good, but not. It was very good, but not quite as good. Like it's hard to live up to the hype to Michael's Taker 1.
WrestleMania 26's match is good for very different reasons, though. There's very different reasons as to why that match is so good.
Which is understandable.
But yeah, it's also one of my favorite angles ever, though the one leading up to WrestleMania 26.
Yeah.
God, that angle breaks my heart, man.
One last thing before we end this. I know what was really cool was the whole heaven and hell thing that Shawn Michaels had going on. Can we just briefly talk about Shawn Michaels' entrance coming down from the heavens in like a reverse Undertaker attire? Can I just say that was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen?
That was pretty great.
I like it. I like it a lot.
And like Shawn, like he did that on SmackDown too, and he had like this cocky as fuck smirk on his face. I'm like,
wouldn't you have a cocky ass smirk on your face if you fucking descended from the heavens?
Yeah.
In a fucking like white robe like thing with the pristine white. I don't know what kind of hat that is. Like the big hat with the dome on the top. And fuck. I am on a sugar high right now. I am having trouble concentrating.
It's okay. I think that about covers this episode anyway. So yeah, sorry for this video being a little late, but we finally got to talk about some of our favorite WrestleMania matches. Oh boy. Next video, we shift from WrestleMania to hardcore. We got Extreme Rules coming up, so we're going to be talking about some of the most extreme, or at least most hardcore matches in WWE history.
Wait. Did you say extreme?
Yes.
Did you say extreme?
Yes.
Easy dub! 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 Easy